Now we're going to simplify expressions with negative exponents. We can do these two different ways. So let's first start with what you know. We know how to divide with exponents. A to the 5th, b to the 7th, divided by a squared b. And we said before, in division, we subtract exponents. So I subtract exponents, I get a to the 3rd. I subtract exponents, we remember this is a 1, I get b to the 6th. So now with negative exponents, let's say I have x to the 4th, y to the 3rd, divided by x, y. Again, before we do this, we said x to the 4th means x times itself 4 times. This means y cubed. But I could just subtract exponents like we did here. But it's numerator minus denominator. So 4 minus 5 would give me x to the minus 1. 3 minus 1 would give me y squared. So I could write my answer, and there could be some negative exponents. Or I could write it like this. Remember, x to the 4th means x times itself 4 times. I've got y cubed, 1, 2, 3. X to the 5th, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have 1y. We said anything divided by itself is 1. Cancels to 1, 1, 1, 1, but notice there's an x left. I canceled this pair of y's, but I'm left with y squared. So I have 2y squared on the top, x on the bottom. This is the same problem. So these answers are equal, just written in a different form. So if you notice, when anything has a negative exponent, I can put it in the denominator. So what I can do when I have a negative exponent is switch. All right, we'll do another one. First we'll do a couple, and we'll do them all this way with negative exponents. Then we'll change it and write them all with positives. All right, so here we go. Let's say I have x to the 5th, y to the 8th, divided by x squared, y to the 9th. If I write it with negative exponents, I subtract exponents, but it's numerator minus denominator. So 5 minus 2 is going to be x to the positive 3. 8 minus 9 gives me y to the minus 1. So I could write my answer that way. Another one. Let's say I have x to the 10th, y to the 5th, z to the 3rd, divided by x squared, y to the 7th, z to the 5th. I could subtract my exponents, numerator minus denominator. 10 minus 2 is going to give me x to the positive 8. 5 minus 7 gives me y to the minus 2. Subtract exponents, numerator minus denominator, is going to give me z to the minus 2. All right, one more. Let's say I have a cubed b squared over a to the 4th, b to the 3rd. If I write it with negative exponents, I subtract exponents, I'm going to get a to the minus 1. I subtract exponents, I'm going to get b to the minus 1. Now, if for some reason I am told to convert my answers to positive exponents, anytime I have a negative, I can take a numerator, put it in the denominator, or denominator, put it in a numerator. So, x cubed is not negative, so that means it stays. Y to the minus 1 means it's a denominator. So these two are the same, just written in a different form. My x to the 8th stays in the numerator. They have negatives, I got to put it in the denominator. Y squared, z squared. These two answers are the same. This one. Minus 1 means I got to make it a denominator. B to the minus 1 means I got to make it a denominator. I can't have an answer like that. A denominator stays a denominator. If there's nothing up here, there's a 1. And lots of people get that one wrong. As I said before, any expression with a negative exponent will change from a numerator to denominator and denominator to numerator if I want to make it positive. So, for example, if I have one like this, x squared y to the minus 1, and I want to write that with all positive exponents. My x squared stays, my y becomes a denominator. Let's say I have this, x to the minus 3, y to the minus 2, over a to the 4th, b to the minus 5th. So now, x to the minus 3 becomes a denominator. So now x to the 3rd switches. A to the 4th is positive. I should have written it in the front, but a to the 4th will stay. Y squared now becomes a denominator. B to the 5th is negative. It becomes a numerator. Alright, we'll do another one. Let's say I have 2a to the minus 3 over b squared. And I want to write it with all positive exponents. My 2 stays. A cubed becomes a denominator. And my b squared stays a denominator because it was positive. So the only one change are the negatives. Let's do one more. Let's say I have a squared b to the negative 3 over b squared c. My a squared stays. My b's, my b to the minus 3 will now become a denominator. So that means I'm going to have b squared, but I'm also have a b cubed. So I'm going to get b to the 5th. Then there's my c. So if I have a negative exponent in the numerator, to make it positive, I put it in the denominator. If I have a negative in the denominator, to make it positive, I put it in the numerator. So just to make sure, because sometimes people go with big ones and not little ones, let's say I wanted to convert this to positive, 13 to the negative 1, and I wanted to write it as a positive exponent. It would have to be 1 over 13. In other words, this becomes a denominator, so you have to put 1 over. Let's say I have 6 to the negative 1. It's got to be a 6th. Let's say I have 4 to the negative 2. That's going to be 1 over 4 squared, which is 1 over 16.